Hello everyone, welcome back to Story Time. We are currently reading The Willigrews 2 by Terry Tarbox, and Terry is a local author who has very kindly said that we can read his stories for Story Time, and this book is illustrated by Terry's niece and her name is Wendy Wheatley. Now we are up to our very last chapter in this book and it is called The Willigrews and the Alien Encounter, and again this is quite a long chapter, so we will divide it up into some nice bite-sized chunks, but it does mean that you'll have to keep coming back over the next few days to find out what happens. Okay, so let's see what's going on with the Willigrews and the alien encounter. You may not know this, but in Willigrew during springtime there is a special week every year when a dense sparkling mist surrounds the village. The Willigrews call this time Mistaval and arrange all sorts of activities as part of the celebration. The activities are more or less the same every year. There are, among others, pin the donkey on the tail, not a real donkey of course, who can jump the highest while eating 3 sausages, who can melt most eye cubes using just their earlobes, and of course the old favourite, who can make the most words from the word Terry, I can't say this, flocky knocky nihilipilification. I'm going to show this word to you because it is crazy long. Thank you for making me say that, Terry. I'm not going to do it again. At this year's Mistaval, the Willigrews had invited some of their friends, the Drangle Binders, to join them in the fun and games. Everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves amid much laughter and general silliness, when Partiv, who had been standing outside the mist, came running up to Drangle shouting, "Something is landing in the chickweed beds. It's very big and shiny, like a big shiny gravy boat type thing." Drangle, Partiv and Yill ran over to the chickweed beds and saw exactly what Partiv had described. It did not land, however, and was just hovering several metres off the ground. By now, several other Willigrews and some Drangle Binders had gathered to take a look. "What do you think it is?" asked Longstint. "Could it be aliens from a distant planet?" Before anyone could answer, a little female Drangle Binder ran out and stood beneath the shiny craft. Drangle acted quickly and sprinted over to the rescue. Sadly, he was too late. Before he could reach her, a beam of blue light zapped the child. In less than a split second, she was gone, and the craft shot up into the sky at lightning speed, disappearing behind the clouds. Everyone stood silently staring at the spot where Morwicks had been, when her father, Flindax, came pushing through the crowd. He walked over to where his daughter had been and said tearfully, "Morwicks was my only child. She can't be gone. What am I going to do?" He fell to his knees and placed his hand on the ground, and to his surprise touched a small box of some sort. He picked it up and inspected it. After reading the label, which said chicken tikka masala, in realisation he looked despairingly up to the sky and cried, They have turned my beloved daughter into a ready meal." A crowd gathered around Flindax and tried their best to console him. However, he was totally distraught, and cradling the box in his arms, he headed off towards the village. Longstint walked beside him for a while and heard him speaking tearfully to his unfortunate transformed daughter. "I will never forget you, my love, and I promise that, no matter how hungry I become, I will never cook you on a high heat for 3 minutes in the microwave." Nobody felt like carrying on with the Mistaval celebrations after that, so all the Drangle Binders went home. When they had gone, Drangle gathered a group of friends together at his house in order to discuss the plight of poor Morwicks. They all sat around the kitchen table. Drangle made them all a cup of chickweed tea, and they just looked at each other, shocked and very sad. Yill was first to speak, saying, "Do you really think it is possible to turn a living creature into a ready meal?" Crowfin replied, "Well, they are, as far as we know, aliens, and I suppose it's possible. Who knows how advanced they are on whatever planet they come from? Perhaps they can do it the other way round and turn ready meals into living creatures." Drangle, looking rather serious, held his hands up, palms forward, trying to calm everyone, and said, "All our wondering and asking questions won't help. We cannot possibly know what these aliens are capable of, so we must think of a way to find them and put things right for the Drangle Binders. Just then, there was a gentle tapping sound at the front door. Dora opened it, and in flew Duffy Scrunnock, the little bird who now lived for part of the year in Willigrews. "Hello, everyone," chirped Duffy. "I couldn't help hearing, with my highly sensitive superior birdie ears, that you need someone to look for aliens. Well, look no further than Duffy, my friends. Don't forget I can fly a long way and would be pleased to carry out a search on your behalf." "Are you sure?" asked Longstint. "It could be very dangerous. They might turn you into an oven-ready Scrunnock, and we would not like that." "I'll risk it for me mates," said Duffy, twitching. Yill smiled. "We are so lucky to have a Scrunnock like you as a friend. It is impossible to tell when a bird blushes due to feathers, but I think Duffy did just then." Following that, with much waving and good-lucking from the Willigrews, he flapped a cheery goodbye and flew up above the forest before disappearing into the distance. He flapped and glided and flapped high above the earth, soaring up, then swooping down to look at what was on the ground between the trees. After a while, our little feathered friend started to feel a bit peckish, so decided to land upon the ground to find something to eat. He searched around on the grass, twitching and hopping until he found what he was looking for. Some kind of creature had put some bird seed out, and he tucked in Lily! Sorry, Lily was getting a bit excited there about the story. Some kind of creature had put bird seed out, and he tucked in, gratefully pecking up the tasty treat, along with a few small insects that happened to be passing by. "Right," thought Duffy, "better get back to the job in hand," then flew effortlessly skyward to continue his searching, singing a little song as he went. "Fly, fly, fly, all I do is fly. I don't know why, I'm always passing by. Sometimes I stop, then I twitch and hop. Fly, hop, twitch, it doesn't matter which." This little ditty seemed to cheer Duffy up, and he flew a bit more quickly until he spotted something with his extremely sharp eyes. There was something on the ground in a clearing among some trees. Unable to make it out, he flew lower and landed on a branch. Peering through the leaves, he was now able to see the object more clearly. "Okay," he said to himself, "I am looking for a sizable metallic craft, and that is definitely a sizable metallic craft. The craft I'm looking for should be in the shape of a gravy boat, and that is certainly gravy boat shaped. Both boxes ticked. I think I have found it." As he watched, he noticed a sliding door was open, so he flew down and looked inside. What he saw made him feel a bit queasy. The floor, the walls and the ceiling were all covered in a yellowish-green slime which moved about, slurping and dripping sickeningly. "Oh, gross!" gasped Duffy, not noticing that something was moving behind him until he saw its shadow. In a bit of a panic, he flew into the bushes very quickly, then turned and looked back. What he saw was, he thought, double gross. It wasn't a slug and it wasn't a lizard, but both in one body. Duffy couldn't decide whether to think of it as a luggard or a slizzard. The front part of its body was upright with a lizardy face and scaly claws. Its rear was like a large slug. It moved quite slowly, leaving a trail of yellow slime which steamed, moved and slithered about on the grass. Just then another one joined it and sliding up beside it started to talk. Duffy couldn't understand their language, which sounded like "ma ma mrogra malflang." Even their speech was slimy. Somewhat gurgling and much more disgusting was the yellow slime dripping from their lips as they spoke. "Slimy or what?" thought Duffy. "I'd better go back and report my findings to the Willigrews." However, just as he was about to leave, he had noticed that more of the slimy creatures had appeared and were busy loading crates of something into the gravy boat. The crates were quite large and tied with metal tape. Duffy took off and was soon soaring quickly into the sky, feeling quite excited and intrigued about what he had seen. On the way back, he had to hide in a tree for a while until a harrow spork, which is the Scrunnock's #1 enemy, had gone. After that, it didn't take him long to fly home to Willigrew. Yill had seen him coming and opened the door. He flew straight onto the kitchen table and started to peck at a jangleberry muffin, which Yill had prepared for his return, thinking he was sure to be hungry after his long flight. "Yum, yum, jelly bum," said Duffy. "Thanks, Yill, that was double delish. In fact, it was jangle-tastic." Yill and Duffy were joined by Bromley, who, on entering, said, "Hello, Duffers, old feathery chap. Did you find the aliens?" "I certainly did," replied Duffy, "and a right weird bunch they are too, and no mistake." He then went on to give Bromley and Yill a full, detailed report of what he had seen in the clearing. He also suggested that some of the Willigrews should go to the aliens' hideout in order to make further inquiries. Bromley scratched his head. "Well, if we had to find out what happened to poor Morwicks, I'm afraid you are right, Duffy. I'll call a meeting and ask for volunteers." "Oh, I wonder who will go. I think it'll be Longstint, possibly Partiv, possibly Dora Dingbat. I don't know. There's quite a few that like going on their little adventures, don't they? So come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, where we will continue reading the story of the Willigrews and the aliens from the Willigrews 2 by Terry Tarbox. So I will see you then. Bye-bye.